All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. I'm going to try to do this video again. I just cracked myself up on the prior take, and then I did a Mr. Spacely imitation, and I cracked myself up even more because I was saying that I was fired. All right, so I've been fired once before on this platform. So next time I just fire myself, right? So I didn't have Jethro Tull on my bingo card for new release in 2025 and something that I would like. All right. Now, I'm a big fan, casual fan mostly, but little more than casual, I guess. You know, I worked at a classic rock station for a number of years, and that's where I learned Jethro Tull. I didn't learn Jethro Tull from college radio. You couldn't get further from Jethro Tull listening to college radio. I do want to say this about Jethro Tull. Why is it that classic rock stations don't play any Jethro Tull? They have this huge catalog. They don't play even like Aqualung. I don't hear it. I know maybe you guys hear some of those songs out there in your travels, but I think the iHeart Media Radio Industrial Complex, they've canceled Tull. And I think part of it is because of what happened where Metallica was supposed to win and Crest of a Knave won. And so now Jethro Tull has been blackballed from radio, whereas Metallica, you're going to hear the 3 or 4 songs that they play by Metallica all the time, but you will never hear. And there's so much material going back to the late 1960s. All the Tull stuff from the 70s is pretty awesome. And even into the early 80s, and then that revival period in the late 80s, early 90s was spectacular. Well, they're back, folks, and this song is really good. In fact, Tony, the internet tiger who sends me stuff, sent this track to me about 5 minutes before I was going to send it to him. So we were on the same wavelength, which is really scary. So Jethro Tull announces 24th studio album, Curious Ruminant. All right. And that's a cool name for a song and an album. You know, Ian Anderson kind of operates on a different level. These are some of the names of the tracks. Some of this stuff I can't pronounce. I'm going to be honest. Puppet and the Puppet Master, I did fine with that. Dunsinane Hill, the Tipu House, Savannah of Paddington Green, Stygian Hand, Over Jerusalem, Drink from the Same. All right, so they weren't as bad as I thought. Drink from the Same Well, and then the final track is called Interim Sleep. So Anderson's writing on this particular album seems to be more personal, according to this reviewer who's probably had the album for a little while and has spent some time with it. Interspersed with his usual observational descriptions are these slightly more heart-on-sleeve moments of soul-bearing, which is interesting. Some of the songs are developed from unfinished instrumental demos made some years ago, although this does not result in a huge stylistic divide from the earlier music that Tull made in the 1970s. Now, Jack Clark makes his debut on electric guitar, and he is definitely a huge part of this song. I do love and miss Martin Barr, but Jack Clark, he's delivering on this. The band consists, of course, of Ian Anderson, David Goodyear on bass, John O'Hara playing piano, keyboards, and accordion, Scott Hammond on drums. You're also going to hear acoustic guitar, of course, and mandolin. According to Ian Anderson, he says odds and sods, bits and bobs. So the album also features James Duncan on drums and Andrew Giddings on piano, keyboards, and accordion. So lots of accordions here. Oh no, accordions don't work on classic rock radio. This song is a beast, all right? You may not like it. It's not your thing. It's too organic. It's too artsy. I really liked it. It's called Curious Ruminant. And I will link it in the description here so you can go and listen to it. But I think if the rest of this is as good as this title track, this is going to be a little bit of a Jethro Tull revival. Who knows? Maybe they'll be nominated for Best Heavy Metal Album again. Or hard rock. It was hard rock and heavy metal. I'll tell you what, in the old days, Martin Barre, if you listen to him, he's kind of a hard rock guitar player. And it really made Jethro Tull very interesting. What isn't interesting, though, is the fact that, it's interesting in a negative way that classic rock stations refuse to really play much or anything by Jethro Tull. They'll play AC/DC until the end of time. But Jethro Tull, a very talented band, and, just as a side note, I don't agree with Ian Anderson as far as his politics go. But man, the guy is smart and musical and certainly relevant even now because they're making actual good music. A lot of these older bands are not making actual good music. And the final part of this video is Jethro Tull is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't even know if they've ever been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There are so many bands that are just outside and they would rather put in hip-hop artists and country artists or something because that supposedly affected youth culture or whatever reasoning they give, whereas Jethro Tull is a band for old fogies, right? And even from their beginnings, they were for, I don't know, people who had very discerning tastes in music. And so anyway, maybe it's just the Metallica thing. I think it has to do with the Metallica thing, but, I could be wrong. All right, people. So again, I will link to this new album. By the way, the album itself comes out on March 7th. 9 tracks in total, from 2.5 minutes in length to almost 17 minutes. I love Jethro Tull for that reason alone. When they go off and they jam for 17 minutes. So I'm looking forward to hearing it. It may not be your cup of tea, but I think it's going to be pretty good. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. God bless you all, and I will see you soon.